Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachak Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of Deuteronomy, the 24th chapter. When a man hath taken a wife and married her, and it come to pass that she find no favor in his eyes, because he hath found some uncleanness in her. And you go into that word uncleanness, one of the definitions there is, let me see if I can find it again. Some defect in the woman. Whoops. That's not what I meant. Yeah. So Irowa, right? It says here, expose indecency, improper behavior, right? Which is one of them as well, one reason. But also when you look in the Hebrew Chaldee lexicon, you see here it says, let's see, where did I find that? Nakedness, shame, filth. Yeah, right here. Any defect found in a woman, right? So something that is displeasing to the man. And it could be in a, it might not be physical, right? But then again, it might. So for whatever reason, he finds some uncleanness in her, then let him write her a bill of divorcement and give it in her hand and send her out of his house. And when she is departed out of his house, she may go and be another man's wife. So if she's been given this bill of divorcement, according to the law, which the Lord, Yahweh Shai, spoke on this as well, right? But at the time Moses is saying this, he's saying once she's divorced, she can go and, she can be married onto another man. And if the latter husband hate her, so now the next person she remarried to also doesn't like her, and write her a bill of divorcement and give it in her hand, and sendeth her out of his house. Or if the latter husband die, so now she becomes like a widow, which took her to be his wife, her former husband, which she sent or which sent her away, may not take her again to be his wife. After that, she is defiled. See, because she went away and she got popped, dealt with another man. She can't come back. That's like today they talk about your ex, the whole my ex. Yeah, ex went and dealt with another man. Really, she ain't supposed to come back. Well, according to the law, let me put it that way. But as it says, for that is abomination before the Lord, and thou shalt not cause the land to sin, which the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance. Okay, and cause the land to sin by them taking back a woman that they have divorced who has been dealt with by another man. When a man hath a new wife, he shall not go out to war, neither shall he be charged with any business. So you just married, no war, you're not going to war, and charged with any businesses like being in charge or having to take care of any like business or work affairs or anything like that. Basically, he's supposed to get time off, but he shall be free at home 1 year. Like today they talk about a honeymoon. Yeah, in Israel that was a year long. And shall cheer up his wife which he hath taken. So he basically, have a good time, spend that year with his wife. He just married, he's supposed to enjoy the marriage for at least a year before going back to your regular, dealings. No man shall take the nether or the upper millstone to pledge, for he taketh a man's life to pledge. So a millstone, right, is typically two stones that the top one has a handle and a circle in the middle, right, a hole in the middle, and that's where you would pour the grain, and then you would grind the top stone on the bottom with the grain in the middle. That's how you make their flour and the stuff that is used to make, food. So that's why it says to pledge or as a security, you can't take that because it's crucial for somebody, as it says, for he taketh a man's life. It's crucial for their daily bread. If a man be found stealing any of his brethren of the children of Israel, and maketh merchandise of him, or selleth him, that is human trafficking, kidnapping, then that thief shall die, and thou shalt put evil away from among you. You got to put him to death. Take heed in the plague of leprosy. So be very mindful concerning the skin diseases and leprosy, that thou observe diligently to do according to all that the priests, the Levites, shall teach you, as I commanded them, so ye shall observe to do. So very carefully observe what they tell you to do concerning leprosy, because it's a very intricate, process in how you handle that. Remember what the Lord thy God did unto Miriam by the way, right? How he struck her with leprosy. After that, ye were come forth out of Egypt, and she had to be out the camp until she was done, I think for a week. When thou dost lend thy brother anything, thou shalt not go into his house to fetch his pledge. So you lend something to somebody to give you a deposit. You can't go into their house to pick that deposit out of their house. Thou shalt stand abroad. You got to wait outside. And the man to whom thou dost lend shall bring out the pledge abroad unto thee. And if the man be poor, thou shalt not sleep with his pledge. So you're not going to keep his pledge overnight. And usually that pledge, if he's poor, would be his cloak or his garment, his outer garment. And you're not supposed to keep that overnight. In any case, thou shalt deliver him the pledge again when the sun goeth down, that he may sleep in his own raiment, and bless thee. And it shall be righteousness unto thee before the Lord thy God. So whether he was able to pay it back or not, you still got to give him that pledge by that night, because that's all he has to sleep in. Thou shalt not oppress an hired servant that is poor and needy, whether he be of thy brethren or of thy strangers that are in thy land within thy gates. At his day thou shalt give him his hire. So meaning if he works for you today, you pay him today. Neither shall the sun go down upon it. You're not supposed to hold somebody's daily wages until the next day. For he is poor and setteth his heart upon it. So he depends on that. Lest he cry against thee unto the Lord, and it be sin unto thee. The fathers shall not be put to death for the children, neither shall the children be put to death for the fathers. Every man shall be put to death for his own sin. So a father is not going to be put to death for the transgression of their child, or vice versa. That's why when the Lord says visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children to the third and fourth generation, that's reincarnation. He's referring to the same fathers who come back in the reincarnation as those children in the third and fourth generation. Verse 17, thou shalt not pervert the judgment of the stranger, nor of the fatherless, nor take a widow's raiment to pledge. So you are robbing them of justice, right? Because they're, let's say, of a lower class. So you are perverting that judgment, not executing righteous justice upon them. For that reason, you're not supposed to do. Nor take a widow's raiment, right, her clothes or garment, to pledge as a deposit, because that's all she has. Or that may be one of the very few things she has. But thou shalt remember that thou wast a bondman in Egypt, and the Lord thy God redeemed thee thence. Therefore I command thee to do this thing. When thou cuttest down thine harvest in thy field, and hast got a sheaf, and hast forgot a sheaf in the field. So during your harvest, you bundling up the grains into sheaves. If you forget one in the field, thou shalt not go and fetch it again. You got to leave it there. It shall be for the stranger, for the fatherless, and for the widow, that the Lord thy God may bless thee in all the work of thine hands. And it keeps mentioning the stranger here because imagine you are, let's say you are, I don't know, Jamaican, right? But you weren't born in Jamaica. And then you move there and you're new there and you don't have as much experience or even, wealth or anything in the land like the rest who are homeborn. You're at a disadvantage, just like one who is fatherless or one who is a widow. So oftentimes they're sometimes classified together. That the Lord Yahweh thy God may bless thee in all the work of thine hands. So you got to leave it in case they stumble into your field, they can have something to eat. When thou beatest thine olive tree, thou shalt not go over the boughs again, because you literally would hit the branches for the olives to drop if they were high. You're not supposed to go over it, do that again, repeatedly to get everything off of it. What remains, as it says, it shall be for the stranger, for the fatherless, and for the widow. When thou gatherest the grapes of thy vineyard, thou shalt not glean it afterward. Same concept. When you do the first gathering, don't go back again to go over it to pick everything off of it, off the vine. It shall be for the stranger, for the fatherless, and for the widow. And thou shalt remember that thou wast a bondman, a slave, in the land of Egypt. Therefore I command thee to do this thing. And that brings us to the end of the book of Deuteronomy, the 24th chapter. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rachak Wadash. Until next time, Shalom.